All set? All right, it is 6:03 PM on Wednesday, January 14th, and call the Budget Committee public hearing to order. And we start a roll call, please.
Christy Wood.
Greg Fuller. Drew Carter.
Agenda, please.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second it. Aye.
Budget Committee public hearing. We have 20 article, town operating budget. It's going to be total town raise appropriated operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately. The amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote per sentence for the proposed purposes set forth therein totaling $10,791,640. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $9,795,561, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required in previous action of the town or by law. Have any questions or? Excuse me? Article 9? No. We already approved, the Budget Committee already approved it.
Yeah,
That's going to be on the ballot. Yeah,
after comment, you're gonna review everything? Okay.
yep.
So you're gonna go through all of this and then you're gonna go back for questions and stuff? for 'em?
No, we're going to go through the article for the town operating budget, waterworks, and then the school for the total and the default.
And the other money articles, you're not going to go over them?
Opening up for any discussion. You can talk about any article, give any feedback. But as far as them going through, they already went through every article and voted on. You, for the purpose of reopening any specific article, should there be concern or question.
Okay, that's not the way we used to do it, but okay. So I take it that you think the $30,000 is correct on Article 9? There was no discussion on that number?
We had discussion on it. I voted against it.
You voted against it?
Yep.
Because of the value of the number?
I think there was quite a bit or an adequate amount, I thought,
In the fund?
in the fund now, yeah.
You don't think there was enough money in the fund?
I think there was.
Oh, you think there was?
And
Okay.
with just doing the numbers, I think it's like it's a possible 17% hike in the town budget.
Oh,
Just running the numbers with everything if it gets approved. I did it real quick. I could be off a little bit, but
okay. So Article 10, then, what is the percentage increase?
I think it was everything, Lauren. If you took all the,
Oh,
Article.
okay. Oh, all of the money articles?
I think so. I'll go back and see if I can. Oh, here it is. It's actually, I think I came up with 27.3%.
20?
If everything is improved.
Well, he's asking,
Okay.
No, he's asking for the number including all of the warrant articles.
And if the current town tax rate was 409, I believe, and if the town budget passes, it'll go up to 591. I believe that was the number.
Oh, yeah.
What was the number again? 49 to
591?
590, that's what I had written down.
All right.
5.90?
Yeah, I had one, but okay. 590 something. Excuse me.
Okay, and how much just for the operating budget? How much did that go up?
Yeah, the town operating budget, it's an 11% increase from the current budget.
11 even.
Yes. That's what we were given last meeting.
Can you tell me what areas were the big increases?
The last meeting, there was a warrant article that created 4 full-time positions on the fire department, which with salaries, benefits and everything, it's a little, probably around 400,000. They, warrant articles created a part-time position in the building department and a part-time position at the town hall. And then we had increases in the expenses for the health insurance costs. And they had increases, of course, because of, and it includes a 4% raise for the employees who haven't had a raise since the last 2 years that have been in the default budgets.
So it's 400,000 for the new people, you're saying?
Yes.
So, kind of a general question. The townspeople did not support the operating budget, but they supported all the other articles. Have you got any idea why that was kind of strange to do that? Any opinion of why that came out that way?
What we're getting from people when I talk to them about it, they actually think the warrant articles are part of the budget that they looked at. So they just voted on what they wanted to see happen or increase and not the rest of it. Because they weren't understanding that the warrant articles, the monetary warrant articles are over and above the whole budget. So we need to do a better job of explaining how the process works.
Okay. So could I go down to number 12? Is that one, these are pretty much the same as last year? I just got this information tonight, that's why I'm kind of asking what the differences are.
It's the capital reserve funds.
All the combined ones.
All in, yes, different sections. It appears that what they're just the same amount as last year.
Same?
Yep.
Okay. And I guess the fire station, that's from the CIP, take it, right? The 300,000?
Mhm.
And the building improvements. The retaining wall, it was a vote of 3-2-0. Why did some people thought that was not something to support? 16.
Hold on.
It may have been because there, we felt that there was already enough in there. And it didn't look like that much was going to be spent between now and the end of the year, but this meeting was in December, I don't honestly recall. I know I voted against that, but I'm one of the two.
I think I voted against it as well. There was 79,000 in this fund.
79?
Yeah, as of our last meeting, I don't know,
Okay.
December 18th. I don't know if any has been spent or was spent. Excuse me. And again, looking at the total numbers,
60,000 this year. 60,000. It came in, done fall, this fall. Most of you saw the machine dumpsters down there. He didn't bill out till after that. We had a little bit of a discussion about that, but those bills weren't in.
Yep.
I think that's what.
And we didn't have the bills in yet. Yep.
Yeah, so I think I figured, why put in more money from the taxpayers? There's plenty in there.
Just to hold the line down. Yeah.
you know,
So how much more do we have to do?
They're out behind the office.
Oh, okay.
From swims, yeah, from stairs to office is what's left to rebuild.
Well, my public input would be, I wish that the boat ramp would be widened a little bit and we could, not so steep, so I guess I would support that one, but I think the boat ramp needs work. If you've gone beyond the boat ramp, I'm concerned, but anyway, that's my input. Okay, right. Okay. The town hall, there was an article in the newspaper, well-written article in the newspaper about the roof. And they're gonna try to put the steel panel type shingles on. Oh, that one, I take it from the newspaper article, it was already kind of paid for. We already had the money, plus we're gonna get money from the Clough Moral Fund. So is this money also to help pay for that, or do we already have the money? Are we already set on the money for the fixing the roof on the town hall?
The money have accessible.
Yeah.
I think because it was a large expense and the community, we're in default, that they needed to vote on it from the public for us to expend that money, but the money is there. We're not raising and appropriating it.
Oh, that is in Article 18, the $30,000?
No, that's Article
That's the
27.
CRF
27?
for the town hall maintenance,
Okay,
town
but
hall building improvement.
could this money on Article 18 be used toward the roof?
The roof goes through half that.
What's currently in it? So this will be to restock the.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. And the nonprofits are all lumped together, okay. I'm concerned that 17% is scary.
No, if everything passes, I think it was 27,
27.
if
Oh,
everything passes.
27%.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
For everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on the town budget? Go ahead. Mark.
Good evening. My name is Richard Shea. I think I know pretty much everybody on the board. I'm a member of the Board of Selectmen, but I'm speaking here strictly as an individual. I'm a generally fiscally conservative guy, and I don't like taxes. I even less like taxes that are going up. But I will say, having participated in great detail with the development of this current budget, that it represents a reasonable effort to provide the town with things that are badly needed without going to any extremes as far as expenditures that could not be justified. I have been involved politically in other towns where individual departments are kind of empire builders, and they ask for things they don't need, and they rush out at the end of the budget year and spend every dime that they have to make sure that cuts are not in line for the following year. I'm happy to say that our department heads don't do that, to the best of my knowledge. In fact, we've had several good suggestions and ideas for cutting expenses and reducing costs, some of which have been put in effect and will definitely benefit the taxpayers. I hope that people will view this budget favorably, given that we're coming off 2 years of defaults and 2 years of high inflation. We're looking at a big increase. There's no way to doubt or dodge that. But if people will look at the budget in detail, I think they'll find that the requests are reasonable, and I hope that the public will support them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Can we close the town?
School is considered part of the public hearings.
Yep, so now we want to, well, we got to, you want to do the school next? You want to do water department? Okay. That's okay. I was just trying to do what I was told. That's okay. All right.
In the water department? That's
What?
a line item in the budget, right? The water department is the line item in our budget.
No, it's has its own operating budget. Yep. Yeah, you guys still all get to vote on it. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah. Okay, the waterworks operating budget. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $600,916 for the operation and maintenance of the water distribution system for the ensuing year. The said sum is to be fully offset by users' fees. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $590,653, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law. We have any questions about the water budget? Go ahead.
Percentage increase? That's a level.
15 mainly because of medical, they have to pay their own benefits out of water, doesn't come out of the benefit. So the increases we face with insurances and things like that, independently assessed the water department for their employees. So there was a large on that between FICA, Medicare, and.
Retirement, medical. Okay. Any other questions about the water department budget? No? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to the school. Okay. Some motion to approve Article 2, the school operating budget for fiscal year 2027, the amount of $18,792,042, and the default budget of $18,654,357. Have any questions about the school budget? That's your ballgame, sweetie.
Percentage?
This is from our minutes from us.
Oh. All right.
Page 2. Okay. Your questions?
Come on up, Lauren.
The percentage increase?
What?
How much ago?
3.84%.
You say that again?
3.84%.
3.84. Thank you.
Okay. We have any other questions about the school budget? Ends the budget public hearing for the approved and defaults. Now we move on to old business. We have any old business? Go ahead, come on up.
Should get paid for mileage.
I'm pretty sure you have to give, at the public hearing, the revenues too, by law. We used to have to give the revenues as well.
And we have to publish it. Or that's.
I think they have to be disclosed. We could look under RSA 32. We always used to have to.
Okay.
I know you have to provide that report for the town.
For the town report.
What were you saying? 33? 32.
It looks like 32.4. Yeah. Estimate of expenditures and revenues.
For 25.
For the ensuing fiscal year. Which is 27.
Sorry. What that? it's all included in the MS. What is that, what you're talking about?
I don't, this is not the way we do it. I remember back in caveman days, but different.
So the last sentence of 32:4 states that it shall submit such statements to their respective governing bodies at such times and in such detail as the governing body may require.
Because they made the decision to, um, pay down the tax rate. And then that was this complete, but I'll get you a copy of this for all of them. This has projected revenues for 26.
Yep.
And stuff in it, and that's, again, that's all it is, it's just projected prior, it's no. It's just an estimate used on it.
How close are they to the projection, to the actuals?
They just got the selectmen guess. Yeah, we present their guess. At the-
Right, but it
Right. But isn't the deliberative session where we would put that out for everyone, the revenues and all that? Not at this hearing? I'm gonna say, I don't think we've ever done it at this hearing. I know we do it at deliberative session. Ah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. No.
See, I'll look into it further, I don't recall, we haven't done it. But I've only been up here since.
Ryan, we used to do it back in the 90s. It's 30 years ago we used to do it, but, yeah.
That was before SB two, correct? Yeah.
But that's what we used to do. I remember. In fact, you were the chairman, I think, and you used to read it off.
Well, it's interesting because the RSA reads about submitting it to the respective governing bodies, but not necessarily to present at the public budget hearing. Right.
Well, I think what we got the information from is we had the person from DRA come in and gave us a little seminar. And that's when we found out that we had to do specific steps. And one of those was the revenues, because I don't think we had been doing that before. So what was her name? Meg? What do you mean you don't remember?
No, I said I.
It's only 20 years ago.
30.
Meg something or other.
It was mid to late 90s.
30 years.
Yeah, I know, that's what's scary. He was with what, DRA?
Meg? Come on, Greg.
Ryan?
Thank you.
Well, it does right, on page 2, at the very top of page 2. The municipal county overview. Net revenues.
There's a lot.
According to what was submitted, just so it's on the record, the municipal accounting overview, the net revenues is $3,545,575. And the net required local tax effort ends up being $10,854,000. Oh, but, I don't know. I mean, it's- For. My name is Ryan Heath. I'm the town administrator. And I will read off what the breakdowns are for the municipal accounting overview. Total appropriations, $13,577,867. Net revenues, $3,545,575. Fund balance reduced to reduce taxes, 0 for last year. Fund balance voted surplus is 0 for last year. Actual overlay used was $5,812. War service credits were $410,750. So that's for the municipal accounting overview. The other information you have on there is county and education. I'll go through the education portion too, just so. So I'm assuming based on those numbers, that's local education. Net local education appropriation, $17,824,186. Locally retained state education tax, $4,189,966. Net required local education tax effort is $13,634,220. State education tax, $4,189,966. And this is, again, we just swapped over to state versus local. So the net required state education tax effort is $4,189,966. And then from the MS1, the evaluation, our current year total evaluation with utilities is $2,256,966,420. Total assessment value without utilities is $2,247,247 and, two billion, this number's are getting big. $2,247,247,620. So total assessment evaluation with utilities, less commercial industrial construction exemption, and current year is $2,256,966,420. So. Thank you. Any questions?
Anything else? I'm good.
Trying to start trouble, I'm just
No.
saying. You know, we gotta tick all the boxes.
Hey, we all can learn.
Baker, Meg Baker. Okay, I may as well get into it. Last night, we had a selectmen's meeting. I think the selectmen shot themselves in the foot last night. They revealed that they're gonna go from the dump stickers from $1 to $20. I think it's going to make a lot of people mad in town. I don't know what your feelings is, but as I said, they bought a new Mack truck, roll-off. I don't know, it's probably making good money, but they've upping fees, and a lot of people are going to say, they bought the truck, and now they're having to jump up the fees to pay for it. So I think if the audience, I think the townspeople, a lot of townspeople are going to be mad about this increases. If they had to do this, it shouldn't have been done before the vote. I think they shot themselves in the foot last night.
Moving on to new business. And it would be the Prospect Mountain warrant articles, JMA warrant articles. They brought in, you guys have a copy on them?
Tim?
Go ahead. Yep, that one, and the warrant articles are great. These two, they're the only ones the schoolhouse, besides the operating budget.
So these didn't exist when I was with you. Hi again, everybody. It's nice to be here. Thank you for your time. So the two warrant articles on the second page of this contract support, or in New Hampshire legal terms, Sanbornize, collective bargaining agreements that have been tentatively agreed to between the joint school board at Prospect Mountain High School and both the Teachers Association and the Support Staff Association. Alton and Barnstead share these expenses under the joint maintenance agreement, which is why in the articles you see all these numbers. The number that the voters in Alton are voting to approve or not to are in the appropriate column. They represent 45.55% of the total cost, because Alton and Barnstead share high school operating costs based on the percentage of students enrolled in the school each year. It's a lagging number, so we use last year's enrollment numbers, which yielded these percentages, to divide next year's operating expenses. So we're always using old numbers just because we don't know newer numbers. Which means that the first year, which is bolded in the articles, we do know how that will divide. The subsequent years, second and third years of the agreements, we're estimating, because those percentages of enrollment are going to change. If our recent trends continue, they will probably change more in Alton's favor. That's what's been happening. Fewer students residing in Alton, more students residing in Barnstead. Concerning the terms of the agreements, it's actually on the back of the first page. There's one paragraph at the top about the Teachers Association agreement and one about the Support Staff agreement. And the primary takeaway is these agreements bring the pay and benefits of these two groups at the high school in line with the pay and benefits already agreed to and approved for the teachers and support staff at Alton Central School. One of the things we've been trying to do across our system in Alton and Barnstead is make our bargaining agreements as consistent with one another as possible, so that staff don't see advantages to working in one of our schools versus one of our other schools. And also an ease of administration in our central office that can make us more efficient, we hope, and therefore have a positive effect on saving costs. I think there's actually a line here. I know you just got it tonight, and well, you might have gotten it last week. It depends. Maybe you saw it in your email. 3 years ago, this is the very last paragraph. 3 years ago, it's one of my favorite factoids. We were calculating the district and employees' share of healthcare costs 21 different ways, in 3 schools, depending on what employee group an individual was in. With these 2 agreements, we'll be down to 4 different ways that we calculate healthcare costs, and that seems like a big improvement, but we still have a little ways to go, but we'll get there. And if I may, Madam Chair, on the very front page, I don't think I brought this with you, but I have decided that it's important in the political climate this year across the state to talk about revenues this year, and it's probably important with the way we talked a lot last time I was here about healthcare costs and some of the other things that are very difficult to control in school and municipal budgets. It has been pretty controversial in New Hampshire the last few years to say that revenue is part of the answer, but revenue is part of the answer. And we are on the precipice of a change in public education in New Hampshire. We've been doing it for 3 years, but it is about to become a statewide phenomenon. It may not happen all at once next year, but I believe there will be 5 or 6 schools doing what we do next year. And 5 years from now, it'll just be part of doing business in this state. And that introduces an element of competition into what we do. I had this conversation privately with one of you before, and I've been having it with a lot of people now for a few years. The days of public school districts simply being entitled to educate the children who live in their catchment area and not having to earn the trust of parents and those enrollments are moving behind us rapidly. It's happening because of an overall decline in enrollment in the state that's been very dramatic over the last 20 years. We've lost more than 20% of our public school students in New Hampshire, but we still have all these schools. So this is about to change, and it changed here first. And public schools are going to have to learn how to tell our stories, how to understand the needs of our communities better, and how to develop programs that respond to those needs. I think we're poised to be very successful. I don't think these revenue projections are unrealistic in the slightest. We have already collected, last year and the year before, combined about $81,880 in revenue for students who attended our high school from other communities. So when we got to the end of the year and had surplus and returned that to the town to offset the next year's taxes, that money was included. We entered this year with some past due revenue because this has been controversial and some of the other districts involved haven't been paying while they waited for things like a Supreme Court decision, which has now been made, and some other conflicts that are ongoing but continue to get resolved. So we had $317,458 due to us this year. We're working to collect that. We have collected about a third of that so far, and I like how it's going. This year, we have 30 students attending Prospect Mountain High School who do not live in Alton or Barnstead. We will bill, these are estimates, but let's say about $450,000. The estimate on the chart is $461,250. You can see I expect that number to increase significantly next year. This depends on the joint board setting its capacity, which they typically do in April. And I am going to recommend, and they already know this, so I'm not surprising Mrs. Wood right now with this. I am going to recommend up to 30 ninth grade students and up to 5 10th grade transfers, 35 students coming into the school. If we do that every year, 30 new ninth graders and maybe up to 5 10th grade transfers, that brings us at what I would call full maturity of the program to roughly 120 students who don't reside in Alton or Barnstead. In 28-29, that would result in just under $2 million in revenue, and it would mean we would have 120 students who don't live in Alton or Barnstead in a school that has 365, I estimate, students who do reside in Alton or Barnstead. I'm not going to spend any more time going over things I've already talked about before about what the alternative looks like. If we were only educating those 365 kids, we would be a very different school. We would have a lot of hard conversations between now and then, and we would have to do it. We would have no choice. So this strategy is working, and this is what I see happening over the next few years.
The online enrollment, has that, those numbers fade in here?
That's not included here. Okay. So I'm being extremely cautious, Mr. Shurtleff, with this. This is in-person open enrollment only. We do also have an online alternative program that we've started. I think we're going to get just as much blowback and controversy about that over its first couple of years as we got over this. But if you look at how this has been working out, it's settling down, it's coming together. I know there's still a lot of upheaval and different districts around the state are doing different things with warrant articles. I'm pretty confident it's all going to work out. And I think the same thing is likely to happen with the online school, but I feel a little more cautious about that because it's an even more revolutionary idea for a public school district to do something like that. But we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. We show up to work every day and keep working.
So what we're owed 211 plus thousand?
Sorry.
The town or the school is owed 211,000 plus?
Yeah, roughly.
It says the joint board is initiating action. What does that mean?
We're taking a district to collections. We haven't done it yet, so I'm not going to mention the details, please. Okay.
And how much are we looking to get paid for each student?
So the law actually dictates how to calculate tuition. We take their audited per pupil cost from last year, which just came out. I haven't had time to even deal with it yet. And we charge 80% of that number. Now, there are districts in New Hampshire whose per pupil cost is $18,000, and there are districts in New Hampshire whose per pupil cost is $29,000. There are actually a couple outliers that are even higher, but not many. So it's different for every school district. Their cost may be less or more than ours, but the law says we charge 80% of whatever their cost was last year. It's important, I know we've already talked about this before, but it's important to remember the concept of sunk cost, right? We've already paid for the lights and the heat and our staff. So 80% of their per pupil cost from last year, on average, that's about $15,500.
Who is there?
The other school district, the school district where the student lives. That's who pays.
So how much does Alton spend per student?
The last Alton per pupil cost, not for last year that I just got, but the previous year, I've talked about this before, so about $24,000 to $25,000. It's above the state average. When I got the Alton job, I've told you this before, we were spending 40% more than the state average in per pupil cost. We've gotten that down to about 20% more. You're going to see a more conservative operating budget from us next year, I can tell you that right now.
So each town pays they are supposed to pay us 80% of what they would pay for their.
What their cost would be in their school.
So we pay 24, and let's just pull numbers out of the hat.
Yep.
Another town pays 10.
Yep.
So they only pay us 8?
Yeah, so there's nobody that low, but that's conceptually correct, yes.
Okay.
So here's, the real numbers are much closer than that, right? So let's
But I was
say we're
trying
at.
to do numbers that I
Yep,
could.
no, I totally
Top of my
understand.
head.
Yep, no, and conceptually, that's exactly right. This takes us back to sunk cost, right? If we want to operate Prospect Mountain High School for the benefit of Alton and Barnstead resident students with art studios and music programs and a wood shop and all the things that we have liked having here over the years, we have empty seats right now. You know, we're doing that with 8 kids in a wood shop, but it could be 12. Or we're doing it with 14 kids in a US history class, but it could be 20. So students who are coming in and bringing this revenue to us are filling empty seats. We're not hiring additional staff. We're not incurring additional expenses. So you are correct. It is less than our taxpayers' per pupil cost, but it is bound money if you're committed to keeping all of these programs in the schools, or the school, the high school is the only one we're talking about.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the tablet, it was like $500.
Yes, we do. We buy a Chromebook for every student. That's a scalable cost.
And then meals, I suppose, if they're eating lunch.
We charge for lunch. It's a
Okay.
self-funding program.
At some point in the scaling, though, you do need to increase staff. Obviously, you're talking about a pupil population that's going to triple or quadruple. So at some point, staff does go up, and I'm sure you've weighed that in.
Right, and that's a critical piece. My recommendation to the board every April so far has been based on what's our capacity without adding significant new expenses. And that's where I got to this 30-a-year idea. So I'm weighing our own Alton and Barnstead student population projections, which continue to decline, but not quite as badly as they used to, and therefore our capacity and how that will change over time with how many seats can we fill without adding a bunch of cost. If the districts decided at some point, we'd like to add more cost and have an even bigger school and have 600 kids over there, that could be done. My goal has been to establish this system, really not just here, but in the state, get it to work, which we're getting there. And then what you want to do with it in the future, I will be an enthusiastic cheerleader from the sidelines in retirement.
Thinks we're gonna let him retire. You're not done yet.
We're not quite done yet, but we've made tremendous progress. You know, the alternative is what I call a spiral of decline in a public school. And it just doesn't seem like, it seemed worth the risk to try to do all this. And it's gone pretty well so far.
Okay. So with this first article that he gave us, I guess we need to vote on whether we're going to approve it or not.
I tried to anticipate the typical questions, Madam Chair, in my narrative. After matching the scale for next year, the salary scale already agreed to for the Alton Central School teachers, there's a COLA on the pay scale. The entire scale goes up by 4.25% in the second year and by 4% in the third year. We've lagged behind inflation a bit intentionally in our previous agreements, and we might anticipate that inflation the next couple of years would be lower than 4%. But it was a long, arduous negotiation. We went to mediation. Our school board negotiators put in a lot of time working with the teachers on this to arrive at this agreement. The biggest feature of this agreement is the change in healthcare. We had an extremely expensive, the School Care Green 10 plan was a plan where you can go to essentially any doctor you feel you need to and pay a $10 copay. That kind of healthcare used to be common, especially in public entities, but it has grown exceedingly expensive. So there are tremendous savings going forward for the school district. These were the last two bargaining units. We have a total of 6 in the system. These were the last 2 bargaining units we had still in that high-cost green plan. And now this puts everybody into the School Care Yellow and Orange plans, which are much higher deductible plans with much lower premiums. So hopefully those savings, healthcare is awful, as we've discussed. The impact of healthcare is awful. Healthcare is important, is what I should say. But the cost impact of healthcare can be awful. Hopefully this positions the district to moderate those costs as much as we can, not just now, but going forward, because we've seen just extraordinary increases in those higher cost plans in the past. And like, to be completely transparent, this doesn't make our teachers the lowest paid teachers in the Lakes region either. It doesn't make them the highest paid. But I think the board has had, in my estimation, a pretty wise goal in collective bargaining over the last 6 or 7 years, which is let's be competitive, let's attract and retain teachers, and then let's require the superintendent to make sure we have the right number of staff. So you'll see in my narrative on the support staff, we don't employ as many as we used to. I believe as a pretty experienced school administrator, I have a better chance of paying the right number of people well than paying too many people not very well. Because now I have a lot of less motivated employees versus a right-sized group of people who aren't looking around for greener grass and are committed and accountable and willing to do the work.
have any questions?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the Prospect Mountain Teachers Association bargaining agreement. And further to raise a sum of $78,056 for the 26-27 fiscal year. And with the total additional cost of $171,362.00.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So we have two Article X, is that supposed to be 10? We have two Article 10s. Should that be a
Yeah, so
numbering?
there, it's article placeholder, sorry. We don't know, I didn't know yet what number they'll be on our warrant. Yeah, sorry about that. It's not 10, it's placeholder.
Okay,
Yeah.
'cause the 10, and I'm thinking.
Yeah,
there's
no,
two
it's, I learned
Take it
and
easy.
cursive writing.
That was bad.
Still teach both.
Ouch.
That's funny.
All right, so along that same note, I'll make a motion then to approve the article for Prospect Mountain Education Support Professionals Association bargaining agreement for the sum of $45,200 for the 2026-27 fiscal year, and additional cost of $99,450 for the increase in salaries and benefits, et cetera.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So these the only two warrant articles?
You had a question that I told you I would get the answer. I talked to our lawyer, and it was, we had some warrant articles that are non-cost, non-financial items, and the answer I got from our attorney was that if the Alton School Board is happy to print the Budget Committee's recommendation on the warrant, they may, and they will. And you took those votes at your last
Yeah,
meeting.
we got the same answer here in just a couple of words.
I'm not usually shorter. If I was, that's a good night for me. Good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Just like, if I could just take a moment to correct some information for the public and for the board. Because after reading through revenues, it actually drew a very important fact. And Greg, I am sorry, I don't know where your numbers came from on that, but it seemed odd, the comment that there was a 27% increase if everything passes. There's actually, if everything passes compared to last year, there's a decrease of 2%.
So you said that this year it was 409, right? The tax rate?
Oh,
was
you're
higher.
not talking about if everything passes the dollar amount increase. You're talking about what the
Talking about
tax.
The increase of the tax rate, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but the increase of the tax rate has a lot to do with the fact that when they said it is, our revenues went down dramatically, almost $1 million in revenue. Because last year, our revenue offset the tax rate because we got $741,000 from FEMA. And that was repairs for the floods, but that goes in as revenues, but it's a one-time payment. So we had to reduce our projected revenues going into next year by that amount. So the revenue's offsetting, but I just wanted to clarify that just for raw numbers, it's, last year, and it was a good point that you made as far as we went to default, but every other warrant article passed, and this is what happened, and we plan to highlight that in the voter guide, but last year, everything passed, even though we went to default, was $13,577,867. And that's what I read to you for the appropriations. It's $13,577,867. And if everything passes in the projected 26 warrant, including the operating budget, it's $13,342,765. So that would be an overall dollar amount, a net loss, of 2% less. But just keep in mind one thing, because I did this wrong the first time, and the finance manager had to correct me. You can't include the water bill in there, because the water bill is not appropriation of the town.
Right.
So that 600,000 isn't included into that.
So where did Christie and I get the $5.90 or
No.
91 cent tax rate that would be in effect if everything passes versus what you said 409 was the tax bill we just got?
So the local taxes, so where it came from is the increase, the sole increase in the operating budget. So the operating budget went up, and we're on a default this year. But that 559, that was with the operating budget increase. The way we were able to quell the overall appropriations, and this was a strategy the Board of Selectmen did, is we eliminated most of, if not half or 3/4 of the CIP recommendations for this year. We basically stayed them for a year, because that's what happened last year, is they approved every single thing in the round of CIP, which was almost $3.5 million. This year, we went through the warrant articles and pulled out half, or if not 3/4.
$752,000 reduced from the CIP plan.
Yes, so that $750,000 they reduced, which offsets most of the increase, if not all, and then some of the operating budget. So we tried to balance it out that way.
So I got wrong numbers last time. They were confusing anyway. So.
But that was adding up every
Right, and that's.
article
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
was the 591 or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So that was anticipated.
So if everything passes this year, what will the tax rate be in March? If everything passes?
So the tax rate was already set for this year coming in. They just set that based off of, it's based off of last year's, I want to make sure I get it right. Was set based on. But last year's appropriations, so the tax rate went down to 13.50. Yeah, so the projected was originally 1405. That's what I have here. But the Board of Selectmen opted to put $1,250,000 down on the tax rate out of the fund balance. And that's what reduced it down to 1350 from 1405.
So what will it take? Okay,
13 something.
1350.
I'm missing something.
Well-
So the selectmen put $1.25 million in for the tax bill last year,
No, it's
No.
for,
or for this year?
so this was just set in December
Okay,
for
this
this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without the $1.25 million, is that where the 591 came in, or 596 on the town tax rate?
So the 591 won't actually come into effect until the following year, because the way they set the tax
That's the
rate.
budget that we're dealing with now.
Yeah, but it's backwards, so we're,
Right, I understand there's a lag, but it's the budget that we're talking about right now.
no, it's the budget you're talking about.
Right.
But the projected revenues will change between now, so that's what, that percentage and the evaluation is what compiles to set the tax rate. It's not just the appropriations is a hard number.
So without the $1.25 million, what would the tax
We
rate
would have been at
be?
1405
1405.
per thousand.
Okay.
And that's, excuse me, 1405, that's county, state, and local. That's our entire,
Okay, what about the town?
the towns was 1464.
And that's what we currently have.
1464.
So that was your, that you quoted as it's like the 27% change
working off
is the tax impact
So I was working off
municipally.
the 591 that
Yep.
Ryan said, and the current 409, which
That's
is
the
what he said.
municipal tax impact. You know,
So
where-
if you take the 591 less 409, divided by 409, it comes out to 27.3.
It's the tax impact.
27% hike. Okay,
Just the tax impact. though. It's not like the overall budget is 27%. Or the overall
but
cost.
something is going up, right? So the selectmen kicked in $1.25 million, right?
Yes.
Right.
So that's going to drive that 591 down. What is it going to be? If everything passes, if everything in the town passes. I mean, somebody gave me that figure of 591 because
That's if you
she had
calculate.
it written down.
That's if you calculate every single tax impact on the edge, at
Right.
the end of each one of these warrants.
So am I not saying it right?
Well, and that's
But what
largely
you're- what
because
you're-
of the increase in the budget. Sorry, Ryan, go
Oh,
ahead.
No, that's okay. What I'm trying to get at is, you're saying it right for the numbers, but what you're not understanding is it's not a black, just because that's what the appropriations are, they are offset by the estimated revenues. So you can't say that that's what the tax rate's gonna be when it comes, because the tax rate is based on March's approved appropriations and estimated revenues for the current year when it comes out. So the revenues were a big factor in where the tax rate ended up. And the other big determining factor coming into this next year is gonna be the reval. Because the reval, assessments are gonna go up significantly in certain areas because of the market rate. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, the equalization, we're like 50% equalization right now.
And the tax
I
rate
believe.
should go down.
The tax rate's gonna drop.
should go down.
Yeah, it should, I mean, there's no hard evidence other than, forethought right now, but based on the market and the equalization, our tax rate's probably gonna drop close to half, if not, at least significant amount.
But to
Let's put it that way.
clarify, it doesn't mean your tax bill's getting cut in half. I mean,
It yes, so that's what I'm
Depends on
trying,
where you live.
what I'm trying to avoid is that
don't
misconception,
reside.
that misinformation that goes out and says the tax rate's automatically gonna be this if you approve this. And it just doesn't work that way. It's what's gonna end up happening is, it's those other items that come into play. What we can pull in for revenue this year, coming in, but also, the reval is gonna have a huge effect on everything as to where we are. And to be honest with you, that was part of the forethought, because paying down the tax rate is never a good practice. And the reason it's not a good practice is you have a whiplash effect. Meaning you pay down $1.25 million now, that doesn't go away next year. You have to raise whatever the new proposed budget is, plus the $1.25 million. Because it doesn't go away, it just carries forward. But with the reval offsetting the tax rate so significantly, we're not gonna feel that whiplash significantly like we normally would have. And that was part of.
That was the strategy that the
Yes.
selectmen considered.
Absolutely. Because we never really recommend paying down what the biggest recommendation is through DRA and other, municipal finance forethought is to only use the fund balance to pay down one-time purchases, one-time warrant articles. Because those are the things that don't carry on. Like, for instance, I know there was some talk about the town hall roof. That's a one-time expense that won't carry on. That would be something, if the board necessarily didn't use it to pay down the tax rate right now, to pay that down, it won't ricochet forward. Meaning it doesn't carry on, it's a one-time expense. Same thing if you purchase, I don't know, some one-time equipment or something along those lines. But the CIP recommendations aren't necessarily one-time either, because we basically put that money down as part of a plan every year, so. But, okay.
So let me just try one more time.
Okay.
Without taking into consideration the $1.25 million.
Sure.
Because these numbers came from you, and I guess I don't understand them now.
No, that number that you were talking about, that
91,
591.
96, whatever it was.
is if you go through this warrant article for every dollar warrant and you
Yeah.
put in the estimated tax impact, because the operating budget alone is 478. Then you got 1% for the 1 penny. Then you have
Yeah, okay, I'll look.
8 cents. And really, that's what comes out, that's where that number came from. That is every single warrant article.
Yep.
The quoted tax impact on the bottom of that article added together.
So that's where the 591 came
Yes.
from?
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
All right. And in
And-
this year, it's 409, right?
No,
Oh, this year's
64.
464.
Okay,
After,
right,
after the
okay,
clean and a
Default
quarter,
budget.
right.
So
And I,
that's probably what the increase, that change in impact is from this last year to this year is because of we're trying for the operating budget to pass.
Selectmen, take $1 million a quarter in to help get rid of that 591.
No, the 591, they put in to 464 to pay that down. The 591 won't come into effect till next year.
This is for
But that 591 is a
26.
real number.
but
The real number going into next
Okay,
year.
that's where the 409 came from, because they put in $1 million and a quarter off the 464.
correct.
There you go, yeah.
Okay, so my numbers were right.
No, your numbers are wrong. When you said there's a 27% increase, I didn't know where, you said if everything passes, there's a 21% increase.
But that,
On
but
those
that's-
numbers, it's not.
that's what I asked.
Percent
Right,
less.
but that's what I asked. That's why I'm trying to
Sure.
get it now.
No, and I just wanted to clarify that because when the statement was made, I took it, and I'm assuming several other people took it as, if we approve all these warrant articles, we're gonna increase our appropriations by 27%.
and it's not.
And that's not the case. It actually is less than 2% than last year's appropriations. But it still will have a tax impact that you are talking
So
about,
how do you get 2%? Is that the
less than 2%.
$1 million and a quarter on the 464?
No, if you, that's if you add up the actual expenditures.
Right, the appropriations.
The
Excuse me, Barbie.
appropriations, not the tax rate, separate discussion point. But if you add up the appropriations, we're actually 2% less than last year.
Correct. And the appropriations is what we are asking to raise and appropriate from the taxpayers for 2026. Is 2% less than what they approved last year.
Right, and I wanted to just touch base again that the estimated tax impact is just that, it's an estimated tax impact. And with the valuations, we're anticipating that tax rate will be lower than the 409.
Well, it has to be.
But the valuations are gonna be higher, so.
Yeah.
That's where that little balancing act takes place.
So the $1 million and a quarter is affecting the tax bill we just paid
Yes.
in December?
Correct.
And then that's gone in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So my numbers were right,
Yes.
but they were confusing. Okay,
That's all, I just wanted to make sure there was clarity on that.
I'm glad you clarified me, but. No, Lauren, I give up.
Well, you know, that's a perfect example right there why it's important to have the revenues, estimated revenues, that money we got from the flood. That's why it's important to have that number. So is the 11% for the operating budget correct? Yes, it's 11% increase. Yes, and the other one is -2 if everything's passed. Okay.
Okay. Any other new business?
See on the page he gave us, on page 1, oh, number 2 down at the bottom after the chart.
Say again.
Huh? Number, on this thing that he gave you.
Yep.
Okay. Look at the number 2 note. The other school districts, those is 211,600 something remaining, right?
Yes.
So we're really subsidizing right now. I don't know if Ryan knows. How much do we charge for interest if somebody doesn't pay the tax bill? Do you know that off the top of your head? If somebody doesn't pay the tax bill, we charge an interest. You know off the top of your head? Well, whatever. We should be charging those school districts interest. That's our money that they're riding on right now.
That,
Fortunately, superintendent left.
it's an option that's entertained. We can't say exactly what we're doing yet, but that's definitely one of the topics that we've discussed.
Yeah, about them, yeah, because they're riding on our money
Because-
now.
I think that's an excellent
Well,
point.
because what happened was the town sued. The town sued the school because they didn't want to have to pay this.
The school,
And
yeah,
it-
they sued the
They went
state.
all the way to the
Department of
Supreme
Education.
Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that they have to pay it. So now the school's going to collect it.
I will pass your comments on.
And legal fees. And legal fees.
We don't have, yeah, well, based on the collections, that's the only legal fee that we would be responsible for. Because the actual court cases were not against our school district, they were against the State Department of Education. So we did not have to front anything that went against Pittsfield. Pittsfield went against the state on that one.
Oh, I see.
So we weren't held liable for any of that.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, legal fees for collection, sure.
Anything else in our new business?
Back and evaluate any of our previous votes on any of the warrant articles? I think we can still do it.
It's up to you.
The one that you and I voted against?
Bunch of them.
No, okay.
It doesn't say how.
Given the additional information that we have, I would be willing to vote for appropriating that money, but I have to find what number that is.
Okay.
Exactly.
Was there two?
No,
It's not number 16, the retaining wall,
Mine doesn't have numbers, does it?
right? Number 16.
voted against the grounds and maintenance vehicle. I know that because I have your note here.
Which one? I don't know which one it is.
It was either the retainer. Ryan, which did you say, the retaining wall or the Riverside Cemetery had?
Right here.
Um,
Retaining
This
wall was a 3-2-0 vote by the Budget Committee.
And that was,
so it had a bill that claimed,
60,000 bill says.
that was the retaining wall?
yes.
I'd be willing to change my vote on that, but. Big enough deal to revote. Open question.
Yeah. So we go to.
Yeah, at the last meeting, we had 146,000 in that reserve fund, so then 60,000 just came out.
Yep.
With anticipated more, right? And that's what the 75 will help to offset.
Keep it offset for the rest of it.
That's why, because we had a lot, there was a lot in there earlier.
It's, number 16.
The draft minutes. And it is right here. Because they hadn't spent, this is the current fund balance at the time was 79. and they hadn't spent the 60, so that would have left them with only 19.
Motion to
Yep.
revote?
Yep.
I make a motion that
Recommend.
that we
That,
vote again on Article number 16 regarding the retaining wall,
capital reserve fund.
capital reserve fund, to see if the town will raise and appropriate 75,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Got 1, 2, 6-0.
Just for the record. 75,000.
Yes.
It's clear, record.
Yep. Okay, is there any others that you guys want to revote on? What?
It doesn't say in our minutes who voted for what.
Clarify for you, who voted out?
Did I vote to abstain on that one? Yeah.
Yes.
It was 401.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Abstain. Article 12. Red voted no, Philip abstained. Article 36. Article 14, Priscilla, Al, and Red voted no. That one failed. 15, Philip voted no. 16, Red and Priscilla voted no. 17, Greg voted no. 19, Al and Greg voted no. 21, everybody voted no, it failed.
Everybody voted.
Maybe.
We submitted a warrant, but that didn't happen.
Were there any petition warrant articles that had to do with money? Thank you.
Okay, are there any others you guys want to revisit? Are we all set on the warrant articles?
And town
All set?
budget.
Okay. Now we go to the approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 18th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Wait, 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 wait.
Oh, go ahead.
And you were gonna put the,
Did you want that in there?
yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I'll make a motion to approve the December 18th, 2025 minutes with the addition of the voting record for each article.
Should we see it first?
Well, she just went through them all.
Now I'm gonna be outed as being the curmudgeon.
Okay, no. All right, well, you can
I'll second it then. I'll second it so she gets on record too.
go, going down in a blaze of glory.
Deliberative.
She's gonna whack me. She's getting left hand.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
I'll abstain.
Yeah, he wasn't here.
I'm gonna abstain.
I'd abstain too. I'm not sure I want my name on there.
Pretty proud of you, bro.
It was 4-2, we're not amending. Okay,
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 18th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm still abstaining.
Any opposed?
Me.
Okay. There we go.
Well, it may end up in these minutes anyway, because Carol just read them off.
That's right.
You can, we can duke it out next, oh wait, we won't have another one, so we're good.
Yeah,
There
we're
you go. See you next budget season.
We'll get to read those minutes in September of,
Oh my God.
any other business? No? Hearing none?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Over here. Well done, guys.
So the public hearing and the,
You have to close, I think, the public hearing and then just.
Huh?
Forget it.
Hey.
Just leave it. But you can close it.